Hi guys, so I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while, talking about my essentials and what I use on a daily basis. I've been seeing a lot of videos like this on YouTube, and I've always wanted to make my own because I thought it would be kind of interesting. So here are some of the things that I use on a daily basis. Okay, so the next set of things that I'm going to show you is kind of falls under the same category, but that's cameras. And it can be any kind of camera, so I've got this Canon camcorder that I picked up recently, which I've been loving. I love the vintage kind of vibe. I love how small and compact it is and kind of unobtrusive. It's really fun to use. We've got this Olympus Mu 2 as a film camera, which I've been using a lot for the last few years. This is actually Abby's girlfriend's, but I've sort of been using it for the last few years, taking pictures of us and on travels and stuff like that. And of course, the camera that I'm shooting everything on right now, my A7C II, which is also a gift from Abby for my birthday a few years ago. I just love recording memories, and anything that can do that, I always have something with me. I just sort of enjoy using a actual camera as opposed to just taking photos on my phone, because I just feel like it inspires me a lot more, especially when you're using something a bit more vintage like this. It really inspires me, and of course I love color grading if you've seen my other videos, and so shooting S-Log3 on something like the Sony A7C II and my 24 to 50mm lens, which is the lens I've been using recently in the last couple months. I've been really enjoying the setup and just being able to capture memories. That's something that I've been, always wanting to do, and documenting my life so that, one day I can look back on it, or one day my kids could look back on it, right? So cameras is probably the most important thing in my daily loadout, and I never really leave the house without some kind of camera device that I can use to capture memories. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that I'm also quite passionate about after cameras, and that is scents. So Abby and I are big into our scents. We just go out and walk around looking at different perfume shops and sniffing new perfumes and trying out different perfumes and buying each other perfume. So scents is something, and perfume is something that I hold really close to my heart. It's something that Abby and I bond over, and it's just something that I really enjoy in my day-to-day life, and I'm always spraying perfume on myself every day if I'm not in a rush and I forget. But interesting enough, I think a common theme in this video is that a lot of the things I have been given to me by my girlfriend. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this Ex Nihilo one. It's the Hedonist. I believe she got me this last year on my birthday, one of the gifts she got me, and this has been a staple. Honestly, just a couple spritz are enough. I've been using this bottle quite consistently for over a year now, even when I travel, and honestly, it's not even a quarter way down, so just like 2 spritz will do wonders, and it lasts really long. So the next perfume that I want to talk about is actually something that I've had for a couple years now, at least 2 years, almost 3 years. So it's this Parfum de Marly All Theirs. Now this perfume, it just has this kind of vanilla-y, smoky, deep, rich kind of scent. You know what? I'm gonna spray this on myself right now because I'm gonna use this tonight. This is such a good perfume. So this is actually pretty strong, and it lasts all day as well. I really love this scent. Honestly, I never get tired of it. I think that if I were to buy another bottle of perfume right now, I would probably be rebuying All Theirs. It's my favorite Parfum de Marly scent. For the male scent, I love Oriana for the female scents, but for male scents, I think that All Theirs, you cannot go wrong with it. Now, another scent that I've been using very frequently in the last couple months, even though I've had it for a while, is the Noir 29 by Le Labo, if that would focus. But yeah, Noir 29 by Le Labo. This is an amazing scent. I don't know how to describe it besides just saying this kind of smells like you smell like red wine in the best way possible. Barely used it, had it for just over a year now, but this is a great date night scent, and I've been using it when I go out for nice dinners, and when I travel, I like putting this because it's a small bottle, putting it in my bag and bringing it with me. But this is a great date night perfume that I've been using. So those three that you've seen have sort of been my current rotation of scents. The next thing on my list is my journal. So I have a traveler's style journal, but it's not an official Midori traveler's journal. It's just a leather cover, and I have 3 Midori traveler's notebooks inside and a Muji pen. So this is how I set up my journal. I have this sort of folio that I can keep things in, this photo booth picture of Abby and I, which I actually made myself using the Canon printer. And then I have a notebook where I put memories in, and I print out photos and I paste them and I write little things about them. I have a daily planner, and I also have my brain dump, or my journal, where I put essentially everything that happens in my life, from to-do lists to how I'm feeling, to dreams, to ambitions and goals. Everything goes in here. I've been journaling since I was 13 years old. It's been a while. I've always been into notebooks, pens, stationery, and I've been not just into notebooks, but incredibly inconsistent. I think I just enjoy buying notebooks. That's a huge hobby of mine as well. But I've been trying to journal more often, and this has been somewhat consistent for the last 2 months. I've been bringing this in my bag everywhere I go, bringing it on my travels just to jot things down for me to remember. It helps me when I edit videos later on to look back on what I did and how I felt at that point of time, and also just to keep me grounded when work and life can get very fast-paced and stressful. Having a journal to, I guess, slow things down and put my thoughts to paper really make a big difference, because it kind of puts things into perspective. I slow down a bit and I realize that maybe things aren't so bad. Or if I'm angry and I write about something, when I actually have the act of writing it out, kind of just slows me down, diffuses the situation, and I guess I don't feel as strongly about it afterwards, which is a nice exercise for someone who has a bit of self-control, anger issues. So this has been a really good outlet for me, and just to reflect and write about what I'm grateful for. Alright guys, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is my Kobo. Words cannot describe how much this has changed my life, because I've always wanted to be someone that reads. I want to be an educated, literate reader that, has a wide range of vocabulary and can put together beautiful sentences and, speak very eloquently. And of course, reading is something that would definitely take you there, especially if you read the right kind of books. It's just gonna expand, what you are able to recall and the words that you know. And I know it sounds a bit pretentious, but I just think that consuming books, and I read fiction books, I don't read, self-help non-fiction books. I just think that there's something so true and raw about reading a book. And now I know a lot of you will say that, you should read on paperback, you shouldn't be reading on a Kobo. And, as much as I love paperback books and appreciate paperback books, I will say that in my goal of trying to read more, the convenience of having a Kobo or a Kindle, it's just unbeatable. I have never read more books than I have right now, except when I was reading the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, when I was 12, 13 years old. I think bar that period of my life, having a Kobo has really increased the number of books I can read, because it's just so easy to put this in my bag. It even fits in my small Bottega shoulder bag, and I bring it everywhere. Like everywhere, I bring it to work so that I can read on the commute there and back. I bring it on planes, I bring it when I travel, I bring it out to cafes, I bring it when I go find my girlfriend so that I can read while she's getting ready. So this has been, game changing for me. And if you have any good recommendations for books, please leave them in the comments below. I'm always adding to my to be read list, and I just can't sing praises enough for this. And this was also given to me by Abby, so I think everything has been given to me by Abby at this point. Okay guys, so the next thing I want to talk about is, I guess, my jewelry. So this is a vintage, oh, it's probably not going to focus, but this is a vintage Christian Dior watch. It doesn't really hold much value at all, but I've always wanted kind of like a dainty women's watch, and this fit the bill perfectly. I got this from Ni Vintage in Singapore. It was very affordable. It was about $300 to $400, so it wasn't super pricey at all, but it's really cute. And I do have nicer watches, but there's something about the aesthetic, the design of this that really, I guess, makes it so special to me. And I've been using, this is the only watch that I essentially use, barring like some special occasions where I wear some nicer watches. In addition to that, I've got my rings. So this ring I have right here is actually, it's a silver ring. Well, they're all silver rings, but this one I bought in Vietnam, and apparently it's handcrafted from the silver that they mined in Vietnam. Now I could be wrong, but it was definitely made in Vietnam. This was quite a cheap ring that I also bought in Vietnam. It's just kind of a plain signet ring. I really like it, and it's quite nice. And then this ring has been my most recent pickup, I guess. It's an A, so it stands for Abigail. So she got me this ring. It's very nice. And then I just have this simple silver cuff that I usually wear on my right hand. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to talk about is not in the room with me right here, but I do have my keys. So this is my car. It's my daily driver, I guess, but it is a vintage Porsche 944, which I actually bought at auction in the UK. I had it shipped all the way here to Singapore. I had it stripped down and completely rebuilt. I rebuilt the engine, I reupholstered the seats. Everything essentially is kind of either refurbished or new, and I've had this car for about 2 years now, just over 2 years, and I think I've spent a lot of money in the last 2 years repairing the car. It is reliable, but at the same time has spent a lot of time in the shop because things break. It's an old car. It's over 40 years old now. So you have to expect that things won't always work smoothly all the time, but for what it is and how special it is and how it makes me feel when I drive it, I just think it's also worth it. Of course, it's under the classic car scheme, so I can only drive it 45 days a year, which is unfortunate, but I usually only drive on the weekends anyway, so actually that works out perfectly for me, because during the week I just take public transport to work and public transport home or to my girlfriend's house. So honestly, having a nice weekend car is all I need, and this car has brought me so much joy, and it's a hit turner. I get lots of compliments on it, and I've brought it to some car meets, and it's always nice to meet people that are also into classic cars, into vintage cars, and talk about our interests and talk about my car. So my 944 is a cherished possession of mine. It's the first car that I own that is registered in my own name, and I pay for everything. So I really, really love it a lot, and I probably would never get rid of it, to be honest, because it holds a lot of sentimental value to me. Next thing on the list is super boring, but I have my phones. So this is the Unihertz Jelly phone, and I used to use this when I was trying to detox from social media, and essentially I only used this to text and call. I didn't have any other apps on this, and even if you did, the screen is so small. This is it compared to my iPhone 17 Pro, not even the Pro Max. This is just the 17 Pro, and you can see that the screen is tiny. Even for texting, it was really difficult. I was just recording voice messages, to be honest. But this really helped me to, I guess, detach from social media for a while, and I guess realign myself with the real world and sort of fix my dopamine addiction. But now I am back on, I'm using my 17 Pro, which is a great phone, has a great camera, and has been just really, really good because the previous phone that I had was the 13 Pro, and I guess it was just very, very slow at this point. Now for audio, I either use these Audio-Technica earphones that are wired, and I usually use these on the plane because I'm scared for my AirPods to drop off, or when I'm commuting, because when I commute the background noise can be really, really loud, so I want to be able to actually hear my music without cranking up the volume to the max, because that's not really good for you. But when I'm usually, you know, just at the office or I'm working out, I'll just use these AirPods. They're not the AirPods Pro, they're just the base model AirPods, and they're very old at this point. They're like, I would say 3-4 years old at this point, so they are due for an upgrade, but these kind of work fine, so I haven't really, you know, gotten around to it yet. But these are two of my daily drivers for music. I also have a pair of more high fidelity audiophile earphones, but I haven't been using that for the last couple months. It requires me to have a small little dongle, and I just haven't bought the USB-C version of the dongle since I've gotten my 17 Pro, so I've actually just been using these lower quality Audio-Technica ones, but they work fine. And to be honest, as much as I want to be an audiophile and be into that hobby, I realize that my ears are just not refined enough to appreciate higher fidelity lossless sound, so I'm just sticking with these for the time being. So the first bag that I'm going to show you is a shoulder bag, and essentially I use this when I'm not carrying too many things with me and I'm just, you know, bringing maybe my wallet, my phone, my earphones and stuff like that out. So the bag that I have, or I use, is this Bottega bag. It's black in color, it's quite small, but it actually fits quite a lot of things. You can see I have like tissues in there right now because I always am sneezing. I've got really bad allergies, and actually I have these cards that I have from Vietnam that essentially are cards that you can use as prompts to ask questions with someone and learn more about each other. So this is really, really cool. I got them to use with my girlfriend. And yeah, so this is the bag that I would normally be carrying out, and I think in the last few months I haven't been using this bag as much, but in the past this used to be a daily bag for me. So next we have two bags that I've been using when I'm either traveling or I just have a lot of things to bring. Maybe I'm bringing my camera equipment with me. And so the first bag is actually quite a new bag. My girlfriend got me this for Christmas. It's from Call It By Your Name, and it's this really beautiful, is this called paisley, like a paisley kind of design, and it's this big kind of tote bag. Ooh, can barely fit in the frame, but this is a really, really nice bag. I really love it. I love the design, and she got it customized with my name, and so I think it's really, really cute, really, really cool, and you can just kind of wear it like a little tote like that, and it's, to me, it's really, really nice.